Hello and welcome to another free code session. My name is Jason Mock and I have made coffee, which I need right now. I made coffee this morning, but I've also made a lot of progress on these tests for rocks. So I don't know how I can keep saying this other than I'm going to keep saying it, which is if you don't write tests for your code, you're screwed. You're screwed. I couldn't imagine writing code without testing it to make sure that it works the way I expect it to. So good luck to you if you're on a project that doesn't have tests. And I get that sometimes people get on projects or take new gigs or whatever, and they're put on a project that's been in flight for many weeks, months, years, and it has little to no testing, and it is just a nightmare. I don't envy that at all. So in any event, have your test. And the reason why I say this is because if I run this right now, and I say run tests on the integration project, there will be errors. There will be failed tests. 21. Okay. So the reason is something to do. I want to pick one that's going to be pretty easy. I think, all these are the same, which is this object reference not set to an instance of an object. Okay. Sadly, you can't click on this to get to, like, that will go there. But then you'll see that it says it's the get data. But that's, not what we want. So I believe that would be this. So if we go back here, let's keep this posted for a second. So this is at line 209. So we have we are saying that for some reason can I put a breakpoint here? Yes, I can. Awesome. Okay. Let's run this test. And this is the one nice thing that you can actually get into the code. All right. So this type GetField. Yeah, it sucks that if I do this, what's the field name that it thinks it is? My event. Okay, well, that's right. So why wouldn't it find it? Raise. That's why. Okay, I think I might have just figured it out. Which is instance non-public. I think. The problem is that it's binding flags dot. Would flatten hierarchy do it? No. Exact binding? Nope. If you'll ignore case, ignore return, invoke method non-public. Put this static express change type. See, the thing is, it's not on this type, it's on the parent type. So, which is funny because you would think that it would, Okay. I think I know what the problem is, which is you're trying to you're trying to get a field that on this type it doesn't exist. If I would change this to be, if I say class property here, hold on. No, I want to, I want to do this. Type of class property. And I don't even know if it's going to be able to see this. Yeah, see, now it works because it's up the hierarchy. But But even if I did that, I'm not sure if I'd have the quote-unquote permission to invoke it. Let's do this again and say get value this. That would work. So how do I... I would like to get the field, but not be restricted to this instance, because I think that's why this is failing, is because it's actually defined on the parent and it's not a virtual, so it doesn't get overridden in the derived class. And I think if I made this virtual, there was another problem with it as well, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Actually, let me do that virtual. What else kicks in? I think another problem kicked in. Yeah, so CA 1070. 1070. Okay. So now if I run these tests, we still get ones failing. And it's still with the same problem. Huh, that's funny. It didn't do that before. I wonder if it's getting kind of messed up with when it thinks it needs to declare an event. I don't remember if I say with virtual events, I might be thinking that I need to do it, and then it goes, no, you don't need to. So the main problem is that I really just need to raise the event and try to find it as best as I can, if that made sense. So that I don't know offhand how I'm going to do this in a clean way. I don't want to just keep searching up the hierarchy for all the types to say, get me the field, but I don't know of another way to do this. Let me take this off and let's do this again. I don't know if that's actually going to, pause. Oh, it's still doing it. I don't know if it's the right mock code though. No, okay. Wait a minute. Can I just say public here? How? Binding flags instance declared only. Default? No binding flags, exact binding. I don't know. You'd think our flattened hierarchy would do that. Value of the specified field to get a field value. It's no case, ignore return. Instance, we're already saying. Invoke method. Non-public. Optional param binding. Public. No idea what that is. No idea what that is. Set fields to property static. Nope. Not implemented. I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this other than to continually go up the hierarchy to find it. Which this is something I'm gonna have to look up. So I'll be right back. Hold on. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back after doing some research, and it was what I thought. I just needed to crystallize it in my head, which is you really shouldn't, in fact, not really, you shouldn't declare virtual events in a base class and override them in a derived class. C# compiler does not handle these correctly, is unpredictable, or subscriber to derived base class event. So we really shouldn't be doing this. Though on an interface, you can declare an event. It's one of these edge cases where you're saying if I call a method, I'm expecting that this event will be raised, because you might have this pattern where you have a draw method where maybe in the draw you called on shape change or something like that. I don't know. That's up to you. So that allows the derived class to call the base class, and it will then raise the event as expected. So yeah, what I think I need to do is say only if the event is virtual. And even then, I'm wondering if I should even allow this. I think like if I go look up and just curious, and substitute events. Yeah, so they kind of, yeah, I think that's what they're doing. I'm basically just trying to say if you hit this event, then yeah. The thing that I'm struggling to say is I only want to have events listed if they're virtual or abstract or whatever, like they're in an interface. Then those are the only ones that we would allow. So I think there's some logic, remembering in the back of my head here. If I go say mock information and I say give mockable events. Mockable events should really only be mockable. They should really only be events that are virtual. So we're saying here, if the type kind is interface of event symbol where it's not static and can be seen. So interfaces are simple because if they're there, we're going to grab them. Okay. Else, if it's not static, yeah, we want to say if it's not static and is abstract or is virtual, I believe. And then I think this whole must be implemented thing is really like, because it would always need to be implemented. Okay, so what we need to do then is go to event. Where are you? Where are you? Event. Mockable result. Must be implemented. Must go away. See what I did there? Because you always have to implement it, assuming you found it. Okay, so that gets rid of that. That's now going to start to break some stuff in here, right? Should. Huh, that's funny that it didn't break this. It should, because we don't have that in the constructor anymore. Oh. What? Huh? Expected. But why? It doesn't make any sense at all. I'm really confused now. Yeah, but why are you not like showing this here? I mean, there should be no must be implemented. I have the feeling what Jason needs to do right now is Jason needs to reboot. Jason needs to get his bearings straight. So we're going to shut this down. Okay. Bring it back up. Because that whole semicolon thing that it thought it needed, I'm like, maybe when I go back and watch the video as I'm editing it, I'll see, oh yeah, you were an idiot. You forgot the semicolon, but I didn't really see it. So they're really not mockable. Well, yeah, they kind of sort of are now. I'm kind of find that worthless. Okay, so now if I say this, yeah, Bill failed, but this should probably fail for no. There we go. Okay. So we're going to build the event. It will always need to be implemented. Okay. Like that. And then we need explicit implementation because that will be slightly different. But now if I go back here, self-event, self-get members of type, and that. Okay. Now it should be different, although I'm going to have to unload and reload again because I changed this. But if I come back here, do I check when I call this? I think I just say, okay, if there are more events, then you would do this, and then you would need, I think that was the problem, is that I was printing this out saying raise it, but then for whatever reason, I wasn't finding any events. So close it down. I'd get knocked down, but I get up again. It's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a fun day. It is. It's going to be a good day. Okay, so we've done this. I think things should just kind of fall out in that I only will now show events if you were able to define them on the mock type, and then they will show as raise events. Otherwise, you won't be able to do this. Okay. So now, if I come back to this and I say run, I'm almost wondering if some are going to fail because raises will not show up anymore. Yeah, there's failures here. Expectations. Yeah, so now, now we have done more. Okay, so class generic events of class event args. Class generic events. I get that it's telling you the file of the generator file. The problem is that I can't click on this and get into it, which is kind of a pain. So class generic events. So it's got to be this one. And if I come into here, if I go to 109, aha. Jeez. Yeah, that's a whole boatload of fun. Yeah, you can't do that. You can't have a double quit. Why is it even doing that? Why are you even doing that? So if I come back up here and I say public class blurf, which derives from class generic events of class event args, and I say override. Well, didn't you just tell me event property must have both add and remove accessors? So if I just build this, so that's okay. I find that really funny that I got 2 question marks there. Okay, so that's what's kind of causing some pain here, which is I have that. So doing this is okay. But for some reason, I am somehow generating, when I build the event, I'm automatically putting in a question mark if it needs it. But I don't think I need to do that. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do is just simply say, first, let's get rid of this crap class. And then let's come here and just say, look, if I think the explicit implementation would only happen first if your interfaces, that I believe is working, so I don't need to handle that. It's the case of when I'm building the implementation. Actually, yeah, let's get rid of this right line here. I don't really, well, yeah, it's this whole thing where I want to have space between like certain sections in code, and I, most of the time it would just be this. So we're going to get rid of that. Okay. And then I think that would actually get rid of the thing that's coming up here, because it already is a question mark. That's the thing. I think what I'm trying to say here is that if it's, okay, so hold on. public class. I should put in a simple event. Public virtual event handler of my event. Okay. Now it's saying you wanted you should have really put a question mark here. Okay. Of course, there's another thing here which shouldn't be declared virtual. But if I make this an abstract class, I say abstract event handler. Okay. Then that goes away. But now if I say public class FIE and I say implement the class, I override the event. Right. I want it to be nullable, but only in the case where it isn't nullable. Declare nullable is equal to if the value type okay, so if it is annotated, then what we're going to do is string.empty. Otherwise, we're going to put a question mark there. There. Because we always want it to be that. Now, I think, yeah, that's not correct, because that's not the right error. I don't know what it is, but it won't admit that. So let's try this, not one more time, another time, and see what happens. Now in this case, it should still show the virtual event. And so raises my event and all this should still happen. Just let it think for a second here, you know. It's got so much to do, so much work to do. Okay. A moment of truth, not the moment of truth. A moment of truth. Yeah, the older I get more, I want to say cynical, just, you know, yeah, it takes some time to actually get something to work the way you want it to do. Okay, so we're aborting because of failures. Does not contain, aha. Yeah, see, now we're getting these because if I come here, it's, yeah. So I have to make this virtual. Okay. And now I bet I'm getting, yeah. Okay. So this is not terrible, you know. Restore. We had some other ones on property, I believe. Because, yeah, same thing. The only way to do it is to actually wait. Just because. Okay, rebuild. Because again, if it's not a virtual abstract or it's on an interface or whatever, we're not going to show it. So in these tests, I do need to have it there, and we're still failing. Same problem, but again, that's okay. Let it regenerate. Succeed. Well, the build is successful, but did we actually fix the problem? Let's run the test and see how many fail. And you know what's so funny is, maybe I'm just being like hopeful that this is better, but it feels like the tests, you know, yeah, it says 2.5 seconds, but they feel like they run really fast to me. But this is also a great point about performance testing, which is it doesn't matter what you feel, what you're observing. You really need to write tests, performance tests, to say, is it actually working as fast or as performant as I think it is? You know, the human perception is so subjective. So, but they are all passing, which is good. Let's just run. Well, yeah, there's always this one in here where I'm like, of mock extensions, because yeah, I'll put in things here to kind of just like say, like interface mock, and then we'll put in a void foo there. All right, now if I say run all the tests, we'll see how many pass or fail. 3 failed. Oh. Wow. Really? Whoa. What did I do wrong? Oh, yeah, there's no mock. There's no abstract file. You couldn't do that anyway. This one's probably with interfaces and get mockable base interfaces. Yeah, so we've got some to test there. That's fine. I'll fix those later. It's probably not entirely unexpected, but now if I run these, I should only have 2 that are failing. And I do. Okay, so I'm going to fix those off camera. But this is for me, it's a huge step, because now, like all these tests with integration, I have to do some of these and the mockable results. So I'm not quite done with those, but this is a huge hill to climb. And this one's done now. Okay. So I'm going to pull that up above this list. And then, yeah, I've got some other things to definitely get off the plate. And I might do another episode either later tonight or tomorrow morning or whatever to address all these, because I really want to get down to releasing an RC2. And I've said these have to be fixed before I can get, or, I'm going to probably triage these a little bit more and say what really needs to be done or not to get to an RC2. Like I'm even looking at this. This one doesn't necessarily need to have happen. I don't need to do this. Wouldn't really need to do this either. Probably, I wouldn't have to do this for an RC2. For a true release, yes. Okay, but not right now. Okay, so I think that's it for now. I do have a conference to do on later this week. VS Live, which is a conference I've spoken at many times. They've unfortunately been decimated like every conference this year. And, conferences have been done in real life. So they're doing a virtual one, and I'm doing a talk on Thursday. But I've said this many times before. Doing virtual conferences is just, it's a grind. I really don't want to come across like I'm complaining at all, because I'm not. I get the opportunity to speak. I get a little bit of cash in my pocket for doing it. I'm not complaining. And I can do it from the comfort of my own home. But it's the interaction that I miss. It's the questions and the conversations and everything else. I really, really feel like it's not just the same. And so I'm starting to get somewhat hopeful that the progress on the vaccines are moving forward. And I'm hoping, obviously I'm not going to have one in my arm next week, but here's the funny thing is that I'm a strong advocate for vaccines. I definitely believe people should get vaccinated. If you can. I realize that there are cases where people can't, even though they would want to, but they can't because of, immune suppression issues and other things. So I understand that, but if you can, you should. And the problem with this is that the anti-vaxxers, and yes, this sounds like I'm going to get on a platform, but it's not. This is just science. The anti-vaxxers are going to rear their heads and say, I don't need to take this, and you can't tell me to do this, and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting there going, you know what? This is why I think that is just indicative of why this has become such a huge problem in America, because we have, for some reason, cast off science, and declare that people's individual views override common sense and science. You know, in this case, people would be like, oh, I'm not going to get vaccinated. Who are you to inject me with something that Bill Gates is going to track me with? That'll be sad, because I want life to move on. I want it to get back to some sense of normalcy. And, you know, where I can feel like I can go to a hotel, or I can go out to eat with my wife and go watch a movie and do these things that I would personally like to do. And we're not doing them because it's the right thing. You know, I can't imagine people that are working in medical facilities these days, how taxed they must be. And that cost is huge. But I'm hopeful that we will have vaccines, that people will get vaccinated, that I can start going to conferences in real life and have those conversations with people, because I really do miss it. So in any event, I do have that coming up this Thursday, so I do need to run through that. It's a talk I've done before, but I do need to make sure that it will be under the time and I can do the flow from my machine and it all works. So, but I'm happy, I've made progress, and this is in a good spot. So thank you all for watching. Leave comments and questions below. See you in the next episode.